Welcome to episode 519 of the Aussie Tech Heads. As always, we're proudly sponsored by ATH Web Hosting. Check out the Aussie Tech Heads web hosting site and sign up for your cPanel. Setting up email is a breeze. Aussie Tech Heads web hosting is at athwebhosting.com.au. And due to popular request, backed by huge demand, this show is hosted by Will and Jason, Australia's top two podcasting hosts. How's it going, man?
Not too bad, mate. I was trying to figure out where you were going with that for a second. I'm like, we've been cancelled. What's going on?
No, anything but that. They can't cancel the top two podcasters. What's going on? So you can see I'm in my new place that I buyed.
Yep. And you can see it is actually, we're recording this actually Australia Day. It's actually.
This is how dedicated we are to our fans.
Well, we'd do it tonight.
And it's daytime.
Plans, and our plans are more important than you guys, so we're doing it during the day.
And so got a new place. I've got 140 internets through Sky Mesh that we talked about in a couple episodes. Really loving it. Those guys are great. The speeds are great. Everything's fantastic, and really enjoying being in the new place. And this is just a temporary location. I've got someone staying in the spare room that's going to become the computer room where I can put up my green screen and do all the cool, funky stuff, and not have the ensuite in the background there. But it gets us out of trouble for now. So, how you been, Mr. T? Pretty good?
Yeah, not too bad. This week's the heat's just been atrocious again, but hopefully it should be the last absolutely hot week. And
yeah, I can see you got the fan there in the background. I've got mine off to the side. You can't see.
I got one there and I got one over that side as well, actually.
I got one there, one in the back corner.
It wasn't too bad when I had the back door open. There was a nice breeze, but there was that much bright light out there. The camera didn't know what to do with it, so that kind of messed that up.
Cameras don't like the light.
They don't like backlighting.
Nope.
No. So, but other than that, yeah, not too bad. Finally got the X-Trail back after getting hit in the roo before Christmas.
Oh, no.
So we got that back, so that's mostly back in one piece.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all been happening. Then I'll hear from the assessors this week sometime about the water damage and all the stuff we got damaged there.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible getting flooded through everything because the house owner didn't look after the stuff for you.
Yeah, basically. But hopefully that's all getting sorted now, so...
Cool.
We shall see.
See how we go. Should we get into some news then?
Yeah, if you can find some.
Yeah, it's not a lot happening.
Bit ordinary this week.
I've got something about Optus. Optus launches seamless Wi-Fi calling, enabling customers to defeat network black spots. Optus customers from today will be able to defeat network black spots by seamlessly using Wi-Fi networks to make phone calls and send text messages. Optus spokesman Ben White said the voice over Wi-Fi system would be particularly helpful for people who lived in a black spot area or had a room in their house that did not have good mobile coverage. He said the system was Optus's cleanest move yet in offering voice over Wi-Fi services, and unlike the Optus Wi-Fi Talk app, the system would automatically switch between using mobile and Wi-Fi networks. Because the system works with both public and private Wi-Fi networks in Australia, Optus customers travelling around the country will now be able to make calls on their phones, even in towns without network coverage, as long as they're connected to a Wi-Fi network. Wi-Fi calling service will initially be available to Optus customers using the latest software on Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge phones. Optus spokesman Ben White said the service would be expanded in coming months to include iPhones and other Android phones. So, do you want your personal phone calls going over open public Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I make the phone call in public. It's not going to make any difference.
Don't do any special secret deals there, because...
that's the best way to do it, because then you can claim that wasn't you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really new technology. They've been doing it in the States for quite a long time.
Reminds me when, AT&T would let you purchase a femtocell to stick in your house to increase your coverage for mobile coverage by sending it through your internet.
Well, the femtos are still hugely popular in the States. That's one of their biggest fallbacks because they have such large areas. So it's not really a new thing. I don't understand why it's taken so long to make it a real thing, actually. There's been apps that do it. There's variations on apps like Skype or whatever that they've been allowing you to do it for a long time.
It's about time they pulled their finger out and got it going.
Pretty much. I mean, The only other option in a lot of areas was to use a signal booster.
Yep.
The problem with that, if you technically it's illegal to use a signal booster because you're boosting, even though you're boosting a signal that's already there. And but apparently, yeah, I mean, according to the
They
the
think
web page,
you turn
it's
into a
illegal.
broadcaster or something.
Yeah, something like that. But there are ways around that. Like if you use a active cradle and put your phone in the cradle, and so you're only you're only connecting directly with your phone. You're not rebroadcasting that through a transmitter or something. Then you can get around that. But
Right.
yeah, it's been ridiculous. It's taken so long for them to have such a simple thing that has been available for have to be nearly 10 years that I know of,
Yep. Yep.
if not more.
It's about time.
Pretty much. And yeah, I'm more than happy to allow my phone calls go over unsecured Wi-Fi. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And in all honesty, it doesn't matter if it goes over a secured Wi-Fi either, because the only difference is a password. It's not actually securing the data any differently.
Ah. Would that help
And,
where you are? You're a bit out of cell
no,
coverage.
actually, I've ditched Telstra last week, and I've now gone to Vodafone.
Wait! I thought I heard you say something crazy. What was that? Would you like to speak in the microphone a bit clearer, sir?
It's probably got something to do with me buying a Nokia phone as well, remember?
Yes, you're on a downhill slope now.
But I've gone to Vodafone.
Soon you'll be
because,
telling me you love Windows 10 and...
no. I'm going to Linux, actually. There's a Linux. I'm building a Linux box that's over there behind me.
Skyposaurus.
More or less. But yeah, so I've gone to Vodafone partly because they do a 22 gig of data for $50 a month.
Nice.
And your first month's unlimited.
Is that SIM only, no contract?
They do it on the no contract. I think it's 20 gig of data for 58 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then on 12 months, it's 20 gig for 50. And then on 24 months, it's 22 gig for 50. So I just went with the 24 months. Apparently, it's really easy. The chick at the Vodafone was saying it's really easy to get out of the contract. All you have to say is you're moving to a place that they don't support, and they'll break the contract for you. So
nice of the staff that worked there
she
to
was
give you
really
ways
good.
out.
And she said the other, because my other phone I've got on contract, or Sonia's phone, but it's on my account. It'll be off in 3 weeks. And we're moving that across to Vodafone on a shared data deal. So she'll get a SIM like for, I think it's $30 a month. You get unlimited calls. Oh yeah, it comes with unlimited calls on this one too.
Cool.
Unlimited calls and 2.5 gig of data.
Yep.
I think it's $25 or $30 a month. But if she goes over her 2 gig of data or 2.5 gig of data, she just starts using the data that's on my plan.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Yeah, so you basically share the data. So, yeah, and I get 4G here on Vodafone.
You were lucky to get Edge before, weren't you?
And I was getting like 1 bar of 3G here before on Telstra. And I'm getting 2 bars of 4G here on Vodafone. So,
well, it pays to check your cell coverage, doesn't it?
well, yeah, weirdly, I mean, I wouldn't have expected that to be the case given that we're not that far out of a major city here. But,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, my speeds, I don't know if that's showing up there, but my speeds are
18.
what was it before? About 4 meg. So, 5 times the speed.
18's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, actually, last time I did this, my upload was faster. Let's see what it is this time. 6. That's
8,
7. That's
9,
5.
10. Hooray! Got to exactly 10.
So 10 meg, that's fine for a phone. I mean, you don't need more than that realistically.
No.
They go, oh, you can get 150 meg down. It's like, well, I can, but
what am I going to do with it?
I'm going to watch a YouTube video. Like, what am I watching in 4K all of a sudden?
Yeah. Well, that was like I had one of those Telstra guys that ring up and try to get you a better deal on your plan to keep your customers happy, kind of thing. Right. And he said, "Oh, we noticed you got a 7 gig a month plan." I was like, "Yep," and you probably use about 1 gig of that. Yep. Okay. Well, we can get you 10 gigs for the same price. I'm like, why? If I use 1 gig out of 7, I'll still only use 1 gig out of 10. That's not really very much improvement for me, unless I'm going to be somewhere that I'm going to suddenly use 10, which I don't plan on doing and don't see any reason for it. Oh, okay. Well, we could make it cheaper for you on the current one. I said, well, work pays for the bill, so cheaper, more expensive, not going to affect me. Oh, so you're happy with it? Yep. Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's the reason they do it is actually a thing called data anxiety.
Yep.
And if you're on a low data plan, like a 2 gig or thereabouts, you're actually anxious about using it because you're worried about going over your data limit.
I used to
Um,
constantly be like that. That's why I always made sure I subscribed to the Telstra SMS. You're at 85%,
yeah,
and
but
then straight away you get one. You're at 110%.
it's
Like,
like
hang
25.
on.
It's like a day behind. That's the other thing with the Vodafone one too that craps all over Telstra with the Vodafone app. Um, Hang on, let me just double check. Here, with the Vodafone app, when you go into it, I don't know if it'll work on my first month because I've got unlimited data. I'll just double check, but it actually gives you a daily breakdown of how
Ah,
much data
okay.
you're actually using,
That's nice.
and it also tells you, obviously, how much tells you how much data you've got left. Daily usage, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, when um, you click on view data usage, and it comes up eventually, and
They're
then
finally
shows
getting
you,
decent usage apps.
yeah, it shows you within about 6 hours
Sweet.
how much data you've used every day,
That's good.
and it's only about a 6 hour delay, which is really good compared to Telstra is at least 24 hours. I've actually on a like public holidays and stuff, I'd know Telstra would take 3 days
Yeah,
to update their data usage,
that's ridiculous.
um, which is just pathetic. So, yeah, they're definitely stepping up on that side of the stuff.
So Will Tompkinson highly recommends Vodafone for all your phone needs.
It just switched over to 4G. It was actually on a 3G before.
Ah, 60. Nice.
It's faster than my home internet.
I
60 and
don't think I've got
still 10.
very good connection, very good cell tower coverage. It's okay. I don't know if it's great though.
I mean, I've only got two. I've
But,
only got two bars of 4G, but it's fine. And as I said, like it's better than I was getting with Telstra. And the other thing too, I've noticed, like when I was driving from here to work, I used to hit 4 black spots with Telstra.
yep.
I get none of them on Vodafone.
Oh, okay.
I have because I stream iHeartRadio.
Yep.
Listen to that on the way to work, and yeah, I used to drop out 4 times before, and now it doesn't drop out at all. So
So I got
it's
about 10 down,
yeah, which I mean, realistically, that's
20
fine.
up.
Yeah, 20 up. You gotta love that.
What? That's to Sydney. I don't know why it's picking Sydney because there's one at Newcastle that's closer. But
Mine picks the Gold Coast
I
as my
tried. It
closest
did
town.
one when we were testing before we started the show. It was doing Brisbane for me.
Yeah, mine does. Mine does the Gold Coast on my home internet every time I check it.
Ah, okay.
Gold Coast. I reselect the server and it goes because it must go off the fastest ping.
Yes, it
And
does. Yeah.
when it pings, for whatever reason, the first time it pings the Brisbane server, it must get a bad latency. But when I go check the Gold Coast one, I get 13 milliseconds or whatever it is. But then when I go back to Brisbane and do it again, it gets like 5 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So it must be that initial ping takes too long, so it goes somewhere else.
That's
But then it goes,
ridiculous.
oh no, I can actually do it faster.
Yeah, yeah. It says at the start testing based on fastest ping. But I got
Yeah.
the Netgear R7000 Nighthawk router and love it. It
Mm.
covers the whole of the house with 5 gig and 2.4 gig. So we hooked up everything we can to 5 gig, and it's got the beam forming, smart beam forming, and all that stuff. And it's brilliant. My dad has got a house that's not as long as this one, but the modem that you get from TPG, the cheap one that's like years old and only does 802.11n, doesn't reach halfway through his house. Mine's probably 1.5 times the length of his, and there's no way it would have got to the other end. But you can happily sit at the complete opposite end of the house and get full signal, and you can get like 90 meg down through Wi-Fi if you've got 802.11ac on your device.
Mm.
But yeah, I wanted them to move the NTD box and battery back up though, because it's in the corner of the bedroom, which I think the
Which is
technicians just installed because they're like, well, you have to
they're
have
lazy.
the fibers now because we switched off the copper. Where do you want it? I don't know. What's an internet? Okay, we'll stick it the other side of the wall from where your box that comes into the house is,
Yeah,
because that's quick and easy for us.
and they're lazy.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened in our other house when they installed it.
Yep.
They ran it to the middle of the lounge room.
Mm.
It wasn't even like it was in the same corner as the TV. It was in the middle of the lounge room. It's like, yeah, okay, you can come out and move this. Oh no, we did it right. I said, no, you can come out and move it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I contacted MBNco and they said send photo of where it is where you want to move it. I'm like, stick it in the lounge room. I can plug the TV in, the server straight into it, and a printer to share out and all this sort of stuff. So that'd be much better than in the bedroom with the flashing light. I've got the on power light for
Yeah.
the NTD box plus the battery fail light because the battery has failed there since it's been there for 4 years and no one's ever used the internet here. But not worried about that because the power goes out while we just use 4G.
We spent
And
$15 and buy a new battery.
y- yeah, and then 15 to send it, so it's about 30. I found them on eBay for 30 with no postage as well. Plus also the router sitting in the room with its flashing lights, plus my Synology server sitting in the room with its flashing lights, and at night time the whole bedroom just lights up. So I've got
Mm.
duct tape and put it over all the LEDs on all the devices.
It's actually amazing how bright. I didn't realize. Like I was in the lounge room the other night.
Don't use blue lights on things, please.
No.
What's the fascination with blue lights? You know, even like devices. I've got a 4-port USB charger plug,
Mm.
and it has this bright blue light to light. I don't
Yeah.
even know why it's lighting up. Is it so you can plug it in when the light's off in the house?
I
But
I
it's
think
blue.
USB 3 hub, and it has like it must have a million blue LEDs inside there because it comes like
Daylight.
headlights stream out of these holes. It's like,
Don't
but
do it.
I was looking the other day. I was in the lounge room the other night, and I had everything turned off, and I didn't it didn't click. I was walking around the lounge room and doing stuff, and with no lights on.
Yeah.
It was the lights from the LEDs. We had a blackout a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't walk from one end of the house to the other without tripping over stuff. I just hadn't realised how bright all these little accumulative LEDs were in the house.
Yep. Yep.
So it's
Everything
amazing.
just keeps lighting up. Oh
Yeah.
dear. You got any news stories?
I tell you what, it's been a little slack. There's a few. There's a Dropbox bug apparently.
Yep.
Dropbox says sorry for stuffing users' folders with files it was meant to have deleted permanently years ago. Dropbox has admitted that an error it made caused files its users had deleted several years ago to reappear in their accounts. The company has apologized for the confusion caused by the long deleted files and folders mysteriously appearing again in each user account, leaving their owners perplexed. Some users claim to have seen files that were deleted 6 years ago back in the folders, which shouldn't have been possible according to Dropbox's owners' expectations. Users can recover files for up to 30 days, but Dropbox may keep them for permanent deletion on the server for another 30 days. After 60 days, it's supposed to be deleted. However, due to a series of missteps, some basic users saw gigabytes of old data files returned from several years ago.
Somebody forgot to carry the one.
Yeah, the bug was preventing some of the files and folders from being fully deleted off our servers, even after users had deleted them from their Dropbox account. While fixing the bug, we inadvertently restored the impacted files and folders to the users' accounts. This was our mistake. It wasn't due to a third party, and you weren't hacked.
We weren't keeping it for 6 years for the government agencies to spy on or anything.
No, just completely accidental, and didn't mean it.
No, totally not at all.
Um, we talked last week about how Samsung's finally figured out their thing, but now HP has a battery recall to over 140,000 laptops.
Whoa.
HP is expanding its notebook recall. In this notice, the recall is in addition to one from June. It said the expanded recall involves lithium-ion batteries containing Panasonic cells that are used in HP notebooks. The batteries are compatible with HP Compact, HP Pro, HP Envy, Compact Presario, HP Pavilion. Have expanded the number of recall batteries, which were sold between March 2013 and October 2016. Great, I need to have a look at this list. The black batteries measure about 8 to 10.5 inches long, 2 inches wide, and 1 inch high. The battery bar code is printed on the back of the battery. The model numbers are printed. The batteries include, in this expanded recall, have barcodes starting with 6B, 6C, 6D, and 6E.
Why are batteries so difficult to get right? Is it because they're trying to
Well, in
get
this
them
case,
smaller and more compact, or
they're using Panasonic cells, so I doubt it's actually the battery fault. In this case, I would say it's a battery management chip that goes in there with it
right?
is doing something funky.
Is that built
Panasonic's
into the battery, or is that in your circuitry on the laptop?
Fill dead air for a second, will you?
Okay. Well, he checks that out. We've got Mr. Will Tompkinson as the local battery man because he works at a battery company, so he knows all this stuff and can give you the technical rundown.
So, in my hand for you guys watching a video, this is, you'll recognise, well, I don't know how well this will come up, but you'll recognise that plug there as the plug that goes into your
Yep.
notebook from the battery. So this is basically a battery management chip that sits across the, across the top of your battery, and then your lithium cells basically sit underneath here. And each one of these wires, it's got 6 wires or however many cells your battery's got. Each one of these wires goes to those batteries. And then there's little battery management stuff on here that controls the charge and discharge and checks for faulty cells and does everything it needs to do. Because lithiums need to be, correct voltage. If they step outside of those voltage ranges, bad things happen.
Kaboom!
So yeah, generally you can repack laptop or power drill or batteries, lithium cells, but some of these modules don't allow the repack. So you can physically repack them, but they won't work because the modules actually shut it down after a certain cycle life, because after X amount of cycles, the batteries lose reliability.
Yep.
So I would imagine what's happened is, rather than the cells themselves being faulty, given that they're using Panasonic and Sanyo cells, which are like the cells, there's nothing better on the market. I would imagine there's a fault in these modules, which is more likely given that these are just mass produced out of a Chinese factory. And most laptops have a very similar, just looking at the manufacturing date on this one, manufacturing date's the 14th of 1st, 2011.
Yep.
And the laptop this came out of was a 2015 laptop.
Yep.
So,
that was on the shelf for a long time.
So they would have just made 10 million of these and left them in a box.
Yep.
And then just assembled them as required. So yeah, it wouldn't be hard for a faulty batch of these that was made 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
To now be appearing as a fault.
Now they probably got better quality, but also could have had components that have failed in the meantime.
That's right, and they do have components on them. They do have little electrolytic capacitors and things on them.
They'll have a shelf life as well.
They do
right?
actually have a shelf life, yeah. So it is entirely possible that these have just been sitting in a box for 10 years. They've decided to use them for a batch of batteries and then realised, we probably shouldn't have done that.
Ba-bow. Whoops, kaboom. We blew up someone's house because we had the wrong things on there. Bad idea.
But so basically just go and check the HP. It doesn't actually say. You can probably go to the HP website. You can go to the CPSC, which is the Consumer Protocol Safety Commission.
Yep.
You can go there and have a list, and it's got all the list of it's got all the official flags up the top, so you know it's official. Like, it's got the flag of Canada and.
Nobody could put those flags on their website.
No, that's right.
I'm surprised it doesn't have an official seal of approval or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it has a list of all the batteries that are affected there. Or you can go to, is that the, you're about to leave an official website. Well, congratulations, go away.
That's worse than spamming websites. Are you totally sure you don't want us to scam you? Yes. Really, really? Yeah.
So,
but this offer only goes for the next 5 minutes for you and the other 2 million people he's trying to scam.
So there you go. So if you go to the h30686.www3.hp.com, because they use www3 for everything now. You can go there. It's got a list of all the HPs, HP ProBooks, Compacts, Compact Presarios, Envies, Pavilions, ProBooks. So all the codes are there. It'll give you what you need to look at to check your batteries. And if they are faulty, then just let them know. And also, this is a good idea if you have a bad faulty battery that you need to get replaced, send it back under the recall anyway, because then you get a free battery that works.
Ka-ching!
So, it's win-win, really.
Yep, that's the way to go.
If your laptop is between 2011 and 2013 or whatever the recall time is, chances are you're getting to a point where you're going to need a new battery anyway, so why not take advantage of it? Yeah, that's it.
Apple's Siri is set to get iOS 10.3 cricket update software. So here's one for the Aussies for Australia Day. Siri will have cricket sports scores and stats for the Indian Premier League and International Cricket Council matches. Along with the score, questions that Siri will be able to answer include who took the most wickets last year in the IPL, Show me Virat Kohli's stats. How are the Royal Challengers Bangalore doing? When is the next cricket match? The addition of cricket knowledge for Siri is just the latest move as Apple, Google, and Amazon look to pitch their digital assistants against each other. Do you actually use any of the digital assistants to query things?
Very, very.
Or do you go to Google and type it in and it comes up?
Uh, the only time I really ever use voice at all is for GPS
Yep.
when I'm in the car, or it's like call Son or call work or something. But other than that, it's for entering location in the GPS when I'm driving. That's literally probably the only time I ever use it.
I'd be interested maybe to get a Raspberry Pi and install the software for Alexa just to play around with it and see what happens.
It's
I mean,
pretty
I thought it'd be
neat.
cool if you hook up a camera to your front door and a doorbell that both go back to the Raspberry Pi plus an Alexa on there and one of those smart door locks.
Yep.
And then when someone comes to the front door, it says, "Oh, it has a speaker hooked up to the Raspberry Pi, and it does." I saw you can get open source software for facial recognition,
Yep.
and it says, "Oh, Jason's dad is at the front door. Should I let him in?" And you go, "Yep, okay, thanks, Alexa," and opens up, click, unlocks the front door so he can just walk in.
I'm sure you could do it because I was watching a guy using facial recognition um, at his, I think it was at his shop or something like that to determine if he needed to, if it was one of his existing customers or it was a new customer, to determine whether they need to leave his workshop to go and greet them or if they were going to make their way out to the workshop anyway.
Ah, that's pretty
It's
cool.
on YouTube somewhere. I was playing with it. Yeah, it's and there's obviously open camera and stuff like that you can use. Yeah, Raspberry Pi plus OpenCV equals face tracking,
Yep.
and you can
Plus, you
do.
can install Speaks software so that it can say words that you've typed in.
Mm. And it's already got input output, so you can easily enough make a trigger input like a pressure mat or something to start the service running,
Yeah,
and then have an output, um, have an output of the speaker and of the door lock and stuff like that. So yeah, you can absolutely do it. I
that'd
mean
be
that gives
pretty
you an
fun.
idea who it's identifying,
Yep.
so it knows who's who and seems to be doing a pretty good job of it. So not bad for a $30 bit of hardware.
Yeah, who needs a Ring doorbell when you could set it up yourself and
Yeah,
make it even more useful?
you got to think that sort of thing couldn't have been done even a few years ago on
Yeah.
so massive
So,
big arrays rather than
yeah, well, the facial recognition, you'd have to pay thousands of dollars for software like that.
yeah.
Yeah, you can just
Yep.
download and install it with an apt-get or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Um, Speaking of Australia, Brisbane's Lord Mayor Graham McQuirk.
That's a bit quirky, isn't it?
I always mess up his last name just because for some reason Quirk doesn't look right. I don't know why. Directed council officers to renegotiate a contract with enterprise software firm Technology One after learning of an 18-month delay in deployment and potential $60 million cost blowout.
Whoa.
So basically, 122 million 10-year IT system replacement contract was awarded to Australian Security Exchange listed Technology One back in 2015. On Monday, they received a progress report, basically making sure that they're showing due diligence and that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
The review is still ongoing, but the Lord Mayor said that the briefing identified looming problems that caused him to take decisive action immediately. The reviewers recommend the council renegotiate the contract with a 6-month deadline to provide an acceptable IT solution. So basically, what they've done is they took their 122 million 10-year contract out of another 62, so they've got 182 million. And they've gone, oh, we haven't quite finished yet. Do you want to just give us some more money?
Yeah, totes. Taxpayers don't mind. They won't even know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Our people's in charge are not that great at the negotiating and finding things. We've had the
No.
problems with the buses and passes and things to go through gates that are supposed to work through, trains and buses and everything. They fail, so we have to get a whole new system in, or it runs late. And then they have things like GPS tracking of buses in Queensland, and they go into Brisbane where you go underground in the depot. Suddenly the GPS doesn't work.
And I
Nobody
don't know
knows where
why.
the bus is.
That's right.
We have our healthcare systems, millions of dollars worth of healthcare systems that
And
either fail to work or crash.
the worst part
Centrelink.
about that, the payroll system debacle,
Yep.
the worst part about that, they used German software and the company said it will not work.
They're
It
like,
does not handle rotating rosters. It does not handle after hours. It does not handle overtime. It won't work.
we'll totes
Hey,
buy
let's
it.
use
Here's some money. Okay.
that.
Shh.
Yeah, just don't call to us when it doesn't work.
Now I
So,
got
and
Centrelink problems and
speaking of things that don't work, remember the Pirate Bay doesn't work?
yep.
Oh,
Oh, it's
wait.
back.
Yes, it does. For those who don't know, basically, the government 3 or 4 weeks ago decided that they're going to ban Pirate Bay and everything associated with it, so that we can't download software anymore. Because the Pirate Bay is the only place you could ever do that.
Yep.
And well, as you can see, it still works.
Totes worked.
So well done there, Australian government. If you just go to the Pirate Bay-proxylist.org and you've got a list of all these different servers that don't work. Remember.
Yep.
So there is the odd one in there that doesn't work, like the fastpiratebay.co.uk actually doesn't work, but that's one of the very few ones that doesn't. So, yeah, so just, thank you, government, for being on the ball with that. Speaking of the Australian government being on the ball, and this is part of that, I was just saying about the Pirate Bay.
Yep.
On Monday, the Australian government announced, because they didn't announce it 3 weeks ago, that it was establishing a new critical infrastructure centre, CIC, dedicated to managing complex and evolving national security risks to the nation's critical infrastructure. So it's going to focus on electricity, water, ports, airports, according to a joint media release from Australia's favourite Attorney General, Senator... Wow, really? They wrote that? From a media release from Australia's favourite Attorney General, Senator George Brandis.
Tongue in cheek, right?
Article?
Oh, he's my favourite. Isn't he your favourite?
Oh, wow. And our favourite treasurer, Scott Morrison. Dude, is this guy after a pay raise or what? The federal government will consult with states and territories, including investors, and consider what other assets require attention. I think this guy requires attention. ZDNet understands that cybersecurity will be part of an assessment operating networks or control systems that are integral to the operation of water, electricity, and ports. Assets will form part of the... Wow, what? Sorry, that does not work. ZDNet understands that cybersecurity will be part of that assessment, operating networks or control systems that are integral to the operation of water, electricity, and ports. Assets will form part of the assessment of those assets, for example.
What's a full stop, comma, or grammar?
Or English.
Somebody needs an editor.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that teach me to read a ZDNet article. But yeah, so basically, it's pretty much like ever, because don't we already have the Centre for Cybersecurity?
Sure. Let's have
I'm pretty
another
sure
one.
that's the thing. Let me just Google that. I'm sure we've
The
already
more
got...
the better. We need to be more secure than we was.
Well, there's the Defence Force Academy one as well that's already a cybersecurity headquarters. And then there's the Australian Centre for Cybersecurity.
Yep.
So now we've got the ACCS, the ADFA, and the CIC.
Yep.
You don't want to buy a vowel.
The more the better.
And then we've got IBIS, which is the...
It's a type of bird. Makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere near them either, though. Let's just put them everywhere. And so according to James Turner, security advisor with Australian consulting firm IBIS, floated the idea of drafting cybersecurity into a cyber national program instead of having split criteria. And then apparently we have a cyber posse, which is cyber infrastructure security expert
Anything like Insane Clown Posse?
Professor Bill Kalai. Man, this article is getting worse and worse, but the short story, there you go. And we've got Furby, the Foreign Investment Review Board International. Foreign Investment Review
I
Board
had one of
International.
them years ago. You could talk to them and they made stupid noises.
So basically, this article is full of acronyms that are part, like, so what they're basically doing, from what I can understand, not that I can understand a lot of this article, um, they're taking another key difference is that the CRC will be formed within the Attorney General Department of the AGD and positioned as part of the Critical Infrastructure Resilience Program, or the AGD, that is already in charge of the Organisational Resilience Program, Trust and Information Sharing Networks, and the government business sector.
TLA's
Hang on.
FTW.
I'm gonna read
You
this
have a
article
rest.
and I'm gonna come back next week and I'm gonna try and decipher what the hell they're talking about. From what I can understand, it basically looks like,
They want to have a national security agency of some sort, like the US,
well,
with
yeah,
standardized stuff
because it
rather
looks
than
like
state level.
there's a dozen different organisations already that are already organised. Well, one's by the Defence Force, and all the other ones seem to be all not necessarily privatised, but they're all contracted or something like that.
Yeah.
Put it all under the umbrella of national defence, which
They can all be
basically
managed.
gives our which gives our beloved Attorney General power over it.
Our wonderful Supreme Attorney General in charge.
I wish I had a prayer of this article because I would never have started, but yeah. And then, because they're talking about there's a questionable authorization of $23 billion in contract payments to part of the controversial offshore processing of asylum seekers uncovered by the Australian National Audit Office. Federal ministers that continue to treat travel entitlements. This is at the bottom. What? Okay.
Nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna read
And
this
on
next.
to our next story.
ZDNet for the win.
Star Wars hologram spurs ANU physics breakthrough. A desperate hologram from Princess Leia was a spark of inspiration behind this research breakthrough by a team of ANU physicists. The team, led by Li Wang and Dr. Sergei Kruk, has created a device capable of producing the best quality holographic images ever seen. A desperate hologram from Princess... I just read that. The team, led by... Our ability to structure materials at the nanoscale allows the device to achieve new optical properties that go beyond the properties of natural materials. The holograms that we made demonstrate the strong potential of this technology to be used in a range of applications. So basically, because they've created these tiny nanoparticles to direct the beams of light onto, they can make it look more realistic and solid looking than other hologrammatical displays, and should bring out some interesting stuff. So I guess since officially this week 3D television was declared dead because nobody cared
really
about
alive.
Next I'm going to await my holographic television,
yeah.
which should come out in the next few years, and
And
everybody
take
will
up
have to
half
get
your
one of
lounge
them.
It'll have
Netflix hologram.
Like, you walk into your lounge room and half of it's taken up. You're like, "What's that?" "Oh, that's my TV."
Yeah. Can't we just get the nanoparticles and spray paint them on the wall and just turn the wall into a television and have some projector back here projecting the holographic light on it?
Well, when we buy our own home and I get my media room set up, or the games room, whatever, that's basically what I'll do. I'll basically paint the wall projector paint, which is basically a glass infused paint, and have an LED projector just projecting onto that.
Yep.
And not even worry
Pretend
about
you're at the cinema, get in some nice recliner chairs, gets
But
on to be the waitress and bring you popcorn and nibblies.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you just have it there, and but the projectors don't wear out these days like they used to.
Yeah.
The bulbs last like 5,000 hours or something at 100% intensity, and they're like $20 or $30 now, not $500 or $600 like they used to be.
Yep.
So they buy a projector, throw it in the back, uses less power than a TV anyway.
Yep.
It doesn't take up any room. It's dead flush with the wall, and you can either just watch TV on it, or you can sit down and have a movie experience out of it.
Yeah.
Because you could zoom. Like, if you wanted to just watch TV, you could just literally zoom it down and just have a 50-inch screen. And when you want to watch a movie,
yeah. You could have multi-purpose room.
Yeah, exactly. Like a games room that can be a cinema room, that can be a media room, that can be a
You could turn your whole wall into a game. Play Minecraft. 6 foot by 10 foot Minecraft or something, or 6 by 9 you want to have. Make sure your wall is 9 foot wide by 6 foot tall, and
Yeah,
you
that's
could
it
just
exactly. Yeah.
progress.
Well, I was
Or
just thinking
16, isn't it? 16 by 9.
16 by
So you
9.
need
Yeah.
16 foot wide and
Six
nine
by
foot
four
high.
or 16 by 9. But so basically, what we've become is we've basically become Back to the Future because at at this point now, like they had that. Remember,
Yeah,
they had that
the
scene in
multiple
Back to the Future.
televisions.
Well, no, they had the scene in Back to the Future there where they. I wonder if it's in here somewhere. Where they had they had the shark hologram coming out of the Jaws
Yeah,
10
so we've
cinema,
done that.
and then they've got where was the one? There we go. The scenic view out the window projection, and then the big lounge room
There's multiple
TV
screens.
as well with multiple things going on. So realistically, we're just catching up to Back to the Future.
Yep, that's where all the best ideas have come from. Self-lacing shoes already
Yep,
exist.
that's it. And this rehydration thing technically does exist because you can buy like those space foods and rehydrate them, and
Yep.
that works. Um, the flying
We're
car,
living in the
not so much.
future.
We're not far off it.
Well, flying
Um,
cars are supposed to be coming out by the end of this year.
and ironically, all this now is actually antique collectibles. That's the irony of that. And there's one somewhere, I don't know if it's in here. Remember, there's a post that says, or there's part of the newspaper that says uh, they've been arrested for such and such, and then down the bottom, I'll see if I can find the screenshot. It says that
They said Biff Towers was based on an idea that Trump would become president and have Trump Towers, and they had Biff was president, became Biff Towers.
yeah, there's that. No, there was a newspaper snippet where here we go. I'll see if I can find it. I'm just trying to remember which one it is, where they said something about, I think it was the gang jailed one.
Yep.
But if you actually read it, I can't remember which newspaper it was now. There was a thing about the Princess Diana dying in a car accident.
Oh, okay.
I'll see if I can find it while we're talking. But yeah, I thought that was like
That
they even
came out.
predicted that.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, oh, here we go. See if this loads up big enough for you guys to be able to see. No, that one's Washington prepares for Queen Diana's. Well, that was another one where they predicted Queen Diana.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll try and find that while we're talking. But I thought that was pretty neat. I saw it in the DVD. Somebody told me about it, and I didn't believe them. And I got the DVD version of it
Watched it.
and watched it. And you can actually pause it and zoom in on the DVD, digital zoom,
Yep.
and you could actually read. You could actually read what it says about that. Yeah, that was
Wow.
pretty cool.
And now Apple files a $1.3 billion lawsuit against chip supplier Qualcomm. Apple has filed the lawsuit against Qualcomm on Friday, days after the US government accused the chip maker of resorting to anti-competitive tactics to maintain a monopoly over key semiconductors in mobile phones. Qualcomm is a major supplier to both Apple and Samsung for modem chips that connect phones to wireless networks. The two companies together accounted for 40% of Qualcomm's $23.5 billion in revenue in its most recent fiscal year. Lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California, Apple accused Qualcomm of overcharging for chips and refusing to pay some $1 billion in promised rebates. Apple said in its complaint that Qualcomm withheld the rebates because of Apple's discussions with South Korea's antitrust regulator, the Korea Fair Trade Commission. If that were not enough, Qualcomm then attempted to extort Apple into changing its responses and providing false information to the KFTC in exchange for Qualcomm's release of those payments to Apple. Apple refused. In a statement, Qualcomm General Counsel Don Rosenberg called Apple's claims baseless. Apple has been actively encouraging regulatory attacks on Qualcomm's business in various jurisdictions around the world, as reflected in the recent KFTC decision and FTC complaint by misrepresenting facts and withholding information. We welcome the opportunity to have these meritless claims heard in court, where we'll be entitled to full discovery of Apple's practices and a robust examination in the merits. Tell you what, since Apple became got into the phone business, their court cases have just started going through the roof, haven't they?
That'll teach them to play in a playground they're not qualified for.
Every few months, there's a $1 billion either Apple suing somebody or somebody suing Apple and Samsung and Qualcomm and all the things. Everyone's just, they must just have lawyers having field day, spending all day and night in courts all the time.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be something more constructive, but then again, they've got to spend their money on something, I suppose.
Yeah, got all that money. Got to do something with it.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that's. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the thing of big business. Someone sues someone just for the sake of it.
Yep, yep.
So it's just part of it these days.
Any more news articles on your end?
Yes, there's a few. Sorry, for some reason my browser just decided it didn't want to know about it. So we know how well the Samsung Note 7 turned out.
Yep.
But according to Samsung, they basically admitted, okay, it was a battery fault, and it was kind of our fault because we pushed the device out and we didn't bother to check it properly. So what they've done this time is they are indeed releasing the Note 8. It's, from what I can tell, spec'd very similar to the Note 7. They're effectively going to take the Note 7, tweak it a little bit, and call it the Note 8.
And not have it explode.
Yeah, I guess
They're going to have do not explode.exe loaded before everything else.
They're basically
No smoke.bat.
they're basically just taking the time. Like with what they've done with the earlier notes, they were releasing them once every 2 years originally, and they were really good. And then they started releasing them every 12 months, and that was, I guess, where the issue came really.
Yep, less quality control time, I guess.
I mean, some people say the brand's tarnished. I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly, because out of all the millions and millions of phones they've sold, they've had one bad issue with one particular thing of phone, and they basically recalled it voluntarily.
Yep.
And said,
let you swap it for another phone.
Yeah. Whereas Apple haven't said anything about it, so their problem doesn't exist.
Well, if it caught fire, you're probably holding it the wrong way.
Yeah, that's it. Or you put it in the wrong pocket or something.
You need to upgrade to the Apple Pocket.
Yeah, it's a fireproof lead line case. So have you seen the? Actually, that reminds me. I don't know if I showed them on last week's show. They've got the keepers for the earpods.
Yep.
The earpod holders, and they're basically a string that joins the earpods together from one side or the other.
Do you buy that from Apple or is that third party?
No, it's third party. I just can't remember what they're called off the top of my head.
You need it though because they're expensive to replace, right?
They are. I'll see if I can quickly find it. But basically, they're they're for the earbud. They call them earbuds. Yeah.
AirPods.
AirPod. And they, it's kind of funny. You look at the diagrams though, and you're like, okay, so basically what I've done is I've taken a set of Bluetooth headphones that had no cables attached to them at all, and I've attached a cable to them so that they don't. Here we go.
I remember watching a podcast recently, and this guy, as a tech journalist, went for a jog with the AirPods in, and they're white AirPods, and it was snowing, and one fell out into the snow somewhere, which also looks white for some reason, and he had to go out there with like a sifter and a shovel and digging up a bit, sift through that snow. Nope, that's not it, and just had to keep doing that till he could find them.
Yeah, well, that's the same sort of thing. They're white, unfortunately, so it's probably going to be really hard to see. But basically, it's a string that attaches the two together.
Yep, go around the back of your neck.
You can see how they just clip in
to
the bottom of it. So effectively, you've taken a wireless device, you've added strings to it, and it's no longer a wireless device that you've now had to pay extra for, plus $10, so you don't lose them.
It's a bit crazy.
Or you could have just had an earphone socket. But anyway.
That's too much trouble.
But yeah, I don't think this is going to affect the Samsung brand too much. I think people who know notes, like I've had every note from the Note 1, the 1 and 2 the first time around, then the 3. I've got the 3, son's got the 4. I'll use the 5 for work. So I've had all. And once you've had a note and you realise just how versatile it is, and the sort of tricky little things you can do with it we can't do with most other Android phones either, let alone any other brand of phone. They just don't support some of the things
Not
you can do,
even Nokia.
especially Nokia. Um, you get it's not even being sucked into the Android culture or the Samsung. It's literally being sucked into the Note culture. There's just stuff that only this phone will do.
Yep.
And you may not even use it often. You might only use it once a month, but you go, I really need to be able to do that one thing that I can't do on another device. So yeah, it's definitely it's not going to affect it. People who have Notes are going to upgrade without a problem.
Yep.
So I don't see it being a problem.
Yeah, I'm still using my LG G3. It's holding on now that I got a replacement battery for it, because that was what caused it to reboot all the time. I had got the iPhone 6S, but I've given that to my girlfriend now as her iPhone 5 was playing up, and she's happy with that. I'm happy with what I've got, and everyone got what they need.
That's it.
You have anything quick just to finish up?
Quickly, Ozflix is launching today. Yeah.
What the heck is that?
Ozflix. Well, basically, it's Ozflix will offer clients the option to rent and stream a movie on the web as well as on mobile apps from iOS and Android with Chromecast support built in. Ozflix will offer 250 Australian films for rent, because we made 250 films apparently, as well as 3 original shows. Well, it'd have to be. So they're launching on Australia Day. Funnily enough, the library is expected to grow because they're offering 50% of each of the rental fees. So they're basically charging $679 for a new release and $379 for an old release.
Right.
So of that $680, they're going to be giving $340 per stream to the movie maker, the rights holder. So I guess it's going to encourage people, but they only want to do Australian content.
Yep.
Apparently. And yeah, from what I've only seen a couple of people reviewing, like reviews, not even video reviews, just typed reviews, and apparently the buffering is horrendous.
Oh no.
So we'll see. It looks like they're using, just in the screenshots I've been looking at, looks like they're using one of those, what's it called, Mediafire or whatever it is.
Yep.
As their cloud host. So we'll see. I mean, there's some great movies that I actually like that you can't get on DVD or even VHS, a lot of them.
Yep.
So it would be good to watch some of those older movies. Like there's the Anzac movie, which has got Paul Hogan in it, and there's All the Rivers Run 1, 2, and 3, I think. Which, if you like a 14-hour movie, it's brilliant.
Yep.
There's, there are actually some really good Australian films. There's that new one that Nicole Kidman's just done. So there's that thing called Mad Max 4 or whatever it was that I don't think I ever actually watched from one of the. There's the old Mad Max films that are good, but then there's that new one.
Yeah. I haven't seen the new one, but no, I think they're doing a couple more or something, aren't they?
They'll reboot it to death like they do with everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so go check it out if you want to watch Australia. I mean, as I said, like I would go there specifically for a couple of films I just cannot get anywhere else. But it's not something. I thought initially it was a subscription service. It's not. It's actually free sign up. You just pay per viewing. So
it's not like Apple or Google where you could pay $24.99 and then you can watch it as many times you want any time.
No, I think you only get.
You pay for one view, and then if you want to watch it again, you pay again.
It doesn't actually specify the time. It just says you can watch the same movie on multiple devices, but it doesn't say if there's a limit or if it's a one-off or anything like that. Because all it says is you join and pay $6.79 to stream a new release.
I guess it remains to be seen then.
So yeah, without actually signing up, I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, it could be good for go and spend $20 and I'll never have to watch another.
See some local stuff.
So
yeah. Anyway, don't forget you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/AussieTechHeads. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AussieTechHeads and watch the videos on YouTube as you might be doing right now, youtube.com/AussieTechHeads. Don't forget to listen to various Australian podcasts streaming from AussieTechRadio.com, Two Blokes Talking Tech, the Obsidian Loft Minecraft podcast, Alphart Geeks, Geeksphere, Your Tech Life, and many more. So stay tuned, and we'll be back again in a week's time for more Aussie Tech Heads. We'll see you then.